So welcome to Tirana, capital of Albania. There's my hotel there, but I'm just leaving it to head literally a minute away to Scandenberg Square, the focal point of the city, surrounded by historical buildings. This is actually the third time I've been to Tirana. First time was 13 years ago, and then I came 3 years ago. So it'll be interesting to see what's the same, what's different. So join me on this little walking tour of the Albanian capital city. Right, here I am, Scandenberg Square. Your statues over there, I'll go there in a second. A mosque I'm going to visit. This is the National Museum. Now what a shame, because it's covered in something, but there's actually a mosaic on the front of that, which looks like that, called the Albanians, but it's covered. What a shame. But I tell you, it's another scorcher in this part of Europe. I'm tempted. So on the drive down here, I was chatting to the driver, really nice guy, and he was telling me that he's quite happy to live in Albania. He's heard of people who've moved to Australia, to Germany, to England, and yeah, they might be earning a bit more money than he is, but he says they're not enjoying their life, they don't have time. He says, in Albania, yeah, you're not going to earn a great salary, but you can have a good life, you don't have to work as hard. That's one of the things he told me. And the opera, and the great gigantic Albanian flag with the black eagle on it. Looks like something from a medieval staff. So there's the statue of Scandenberg behind me, an Albanian national hero. Back in the day he fought off, or he repelled the Ottomans. But the driver was telling me today that although he's regarded as like an Albanian national hero, he wasn't actually Albanian, he's something else. He just operated in this part of the world as a Christian, fighting off the Muslims from Turkey. Nevertheless, there's his statue, and he's an important historical figure in this part of the world. This wasn't here last time I was in Tirana, a nice kebab stand. But I'm heading to the mosque. So this is the Tirana Mosque. I've probably murdered the pronunciation of that. Built in 1823, but obviously when the socialist government took over and all religion was banned. In fact, Albania became the first declared atheist state in the world, I think in the 60s. Anyway, this got closed down, couldn't become a mosque, became a sort of place where kids could gather and learn about history or something. But now it's back to being a mosque, and I want to try to get in. Look how good these look on the wall. Another story the driver was telling me is quite a shocking one. He was being a tour guide for this guy, got to know him, and eventually this bloke, English bloke, said, oh, I'm a reporter for the BBC, will you do something for me? And what he wanted him to do was pose with a balaclava on, with a Kalashnikov rifle, and he'd give him €1,000 to do that, and he was meant to say on camera, I'm Albanian, and if we join the European Union, I'll be selling these to people in England. He was meant to cause a stir, and he refused to do it. I don't know whether anybody else did it. When I asked him, why didn't you do it? It sounds like easy money. He said because if he'd have been caught by the police, he'd have gone to jail. And he was a school teacher by trade. In fact, he was telling me he's got 3 jobs. Teacher, he's a chemistry and physics teacher in a high school. He's a tour guide, and he's a car mechanic. He said he gets paid more by the hour for being a car mechanic, and he's hoping that that line of work takes over from the teaching so he can give it up, because he said the kids in Albania now have got no respect for teachers at all. He said it's just joyless work. Now I don't remember seeing this last time I was here. Maybe it was under construction, it has to have been. Look at that though. That is a fabulous skyscraper. And literally across the road, a fantastic church with an amazing clock tower. I might have to go in this. Pretty amazing. where I'm heading now is over the road. I'm hoping it's going to be open. It's called the House of Leaves, and this was the headquarters of, I think, the Albanian communist secret police. Hello.
Where are you from?
England, United Kingdom. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks. Imagine the agents listening in, tuning this, getting the right frequency, getting their evidence. So there's a lot of information about how they borrowed surveillance equipment or loaned it from the Soviets to spy on their own people. Enver Hoxha, the Albanian supreme leader, was in charge of all that. I was asking the driver today, what do people now think of him? Do they think he's a hero, or do they think he was like a villain? And he said it's not as cut and dry as cutting it with a knife and saying good or bad. He said 90% bad, 10% good. So but most people are glad he's gone. You can definitely see the Soviet element here, but actually they fell out with the Soviets, and then they had to turn to the Chinese, and they fell out with the Chinese, and then nobody was Albania's friend, and then it became like a pariah state. No tourists could come in, no one could really leave. It was in a sorry state of affairs. Look at this, it's just a huge expanse of names. So this shows party headquarters in the middle of it, and where they were bugging. And number 9 is Hotel Tirana, which is the hotel I'm staying in. So back in the day they'd been bugged. Just showing surveillance videos that they took. This is just someone's house. They've set up a camera in this woman's house. It's like being in a Soviet spy film. And speaking of mad schemes by the old dictator Enver Hoxha, here, well, there's boards blocking it. Here is a pyramid, and you can just see it over the top. And it was built as a museum to him, except it was never used as such. So 1 year will be all complete. Wow. So 1 year it will look like this. Fantastic. I should have came here next year. So now I'm going to walk to a mosque and then to the old secretive part of Tirana where the normal people were not allowed to go, just the people in the communist regime. And it's actually got the house of Enver Hoxha. And when it reopened, I think in the 90s, people rushed to that part of Tirana to see where he lived. And I think they were a little bit disappointed at what they found. It's not the grand residence you'd expect. But look at this mosque, it looks like something out of Istanbul. That is amazing. Let's see if I can get inside. It's going to be a no. Damn shame. So I've just stumbled upon the old Ottoman Bridge. I think it might be the oldest bridge in Tirana, but I could be wrong about that. Look how good it looks. Slippery cobbles. So here's the start of it, a little Albanian bunker and a little piece of the Berlin Wall. So the last time I was in Albania driving through, I saw hundreds of these everywhere. They're on the hills everywhere. Today when I was driving down from Shkodra, I didn't see one, and the driver was telling me that's because they've dismantled most of them to get the steel out to use that in construction elsewhere. Damn shame. So yeah, now the block area these days is really popular. It's got really posh restaurants and cafes, loads of bars. It's just a nice place to be. It's even got a Burger King. So this behind me is where Enver Hoxha lived until he died in 1985. After his death, the Communist Party clung to power for a few years, but it left Albania crippled and stagnating economically, and it was by far the poorest country in the whole of Europe. I mean, it looks big, but it looks very 1960s, doesn't it? Nice garden though. Do you know what? I'm gonna go get a beer over there. There is really nothing better than a cool beer on a really hot afternoon in Tirana. Cheers. Now I'm going to head though to something called the Old Bazaar. I'm hoping it's going to be good. I like these sort of things. Well, I think I found the bazaar. And I can't believe it's still open. Past 5 PM. Look at this. Although most of it looks closed down now. Just mounds of tobacco in your pipes. And the guitarist from Motley Crue works down here. I didn't think you'd see him in a market in Tirana. Ridiculously, I thought that was the Old Bazaar because I put this in the map because I can get Wi-Fi every now and again. But that is where it's taken me to, the Old Bazaar Coffee and Lounge. But maybe it was around here originally, the Old Bazaar. Well, I've had a quick look around. I can't find anything that might be the Old Bazaar, apart from that little bit I saw. So I think that's it. I'm going to go back to the hotel. So that's my sightseeing done in Tirana, and I've finished my trip around the Balkans now. So I've been to Croatia, Montenegro and Albania, but tomorrow I fly back to the UK. See you next time in Jakarta, Indonesia probably.